I talk, you listen, or you turn the channel. Either way, I'm still going to talk. Welcome to Unfiltered. How's everybody tonight on this horrible, snowy day? Keep our fingers crossed that the weatherman's right on that one. We are filming on Thursday, but I like to pretend it's Friday. Oh, man. Let's start. I've been meaning to do this. I mentioned in one of the useless information segments that David Rice Atchison was president of the United States for one day. Well, I didn't know who David Rice Atchison was, and with the help of my friends Bruce and Andrea, I've got the whole scoop on it. Apparently, he came between number 11 and number 12, which would actually make him the 12th president. Number 11 was James Polk, and number 13 was Zachary Taylor. And what actually happened was President Polk was scheduled to step down from office at noon on Sunday, March 4th in 1849. But there was a problem because President-elect Zachary Taylor was a religious man, and he refused to be sworn in on the Sabbath. So normally the vice president would have taken charge, but the vice president, George Dallas at the time, his term had expired with James Polk's. And under the law of the presidency then fell to President pro tem of the Senate, and that was David Rice Atchison. So whether it was just for a short period of time or it actually says, what would you do if you were president for a day? And Atchison said he pretty much slept most of the day, being Sunday. He didn't make any executive decisions. He didn't, declare war on anybody or raise the taxes or anything.
Wore the presidential robe.
Right. But here's the actual way it went. Was on Inauguration Day. The first person to be sworn into office on Inauguration Day was David Rice Atchison as the pro tem of the Senate, the president pro tem. So he was definitely president. He ended his stint as president with the swearing in of the new vice president, Millard Fillmore. And then the entire Senate then proceeded to the East Portico for the inauguration of the new president. So, I mean, whether it was a few minutes or an entire day, he was technically president. So, anyway, I thought I'd maybe...
And it strikes me in that whole thing that he was probably one of the only, if not, if there were others to hold the presidency without being elected.
Yes, yeah, he was, he was like the only one, other than just the vice presidents that took over. Well, President Ford.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, he did serve for a time because when Nixon went out.
But he's probably the only president that didn't have a vice.
Yes, you're right. Says he was born in a place named Frogtown, Kentucky, which now it's known as Kirk Levington. And the little thing here from the internet says they should have stuck with Frogtown. I don't know. All right, what else am I going to talk about? Oh, I stopped at 7-Eleven. They got those, all those little convenience stores have like little gimmicks that they sell, and they got mood rings. Mood rings are back. Remember years ago, I bought my wife a mood ring. Well, my ex-wife.
Total black.
And it was cool. When she was in a good mood, the thing would turn green. And when she was in a bad mood, it left this huge red mark in the middle of my forehead. Yeah, they work. Oh, what am I going to talk about first? This is kind of cool. Up in Maine, this is something that probably should happen all over the place. Representative Troy Jackson is introducing a bill into Maine legislature that would ban selling certain energy drinks to minors. Because some of these energy drinks have huge amounts of caffeine in them, and among other herbs and stuff. And I don't know why kids need energy drinks anyway. You know, when I grew up, there was no energy drinks. The energy drink was water, and you took that out of the tap. I mean, you're a kid, you're supposed to have energy. And if you're a kid and you don't have energy, I hate to say it, maybe you're smoking pot. And maybe your parents should drug test you. I don't know. Just the way I feel, you know. But if you're a kid with, and it drives me nuts to see these young kids moping and dragging ass around. You know, you're a kid. You're supposed to be full of what Andrea would call piss and vinegar. You know? You're supposed to have tons of energy. But I don't know. But this Representative Jackson's going to introduce a bill, and what it'll do is it'll ban selling any energy drink that has a caffeine content of 80 milligrams, 80 or more milligrams per 8 ounces. And I imagine that would be like the NOS and the rock stars and, you know, that type of energy drink, Red Bull. I mean, it's amazing the number of young kids, you know, drinking Red Bull and all these super hyper energy drinks, and they get so wound up. And Christ, if friends of mine were that wound up as a kid, they had to go on the hyper pills, you know, because they're too hyper. Unbelievable. So that's happening right up in Maine, and you know, maybe we should think more about that kind of stuff. I mean, we're constantly creating things that are going to kill us. I mean, now they're looking into the whole the meat thing. I didn't see the video, but apparently there was a video of some of those downer cows that they're talking about going through the meat system. And I mean, maybe that's why I was feeling depressed last weekend. I ate some bad beef or something from a downer cow, so I was depressed. I don't know. But apparently it's a big problem in the slaughterhouses. And I mean, we're taking food and we're trying to make it better, and all we're doing is making it worse. You know, adding chemicals to shit to preserve it. You don't add chemicals, just take your meat, jerky it up, salt it, whatever you need to do, and that preserves it. Go back to the old way of thinking. This is funny. With the weather around here the way it's been, my back's hurting because I'm delivering pizza, and there's every single person I deliver to apologizes about their walkway. And I got to tell them, you know, you're not the only one. You know, every single yard, walkway, driveway is crap. And the salt's not working. I don't know, but it's horrible. Tanglewood's a mess still. My yard, I'm chipping away a little bit at a time. I finally got like 15 feet of open walkway now. Just out there. And I don't use a regular ice chopper. I use one of them big shale bars to hammer on that stuff. And yeah, wears you out easy. And Mom's got these like little rubber stretch-on things with spikes on the bottom you put over your shoes. It, she says, works great. So look into those if you need them. And along with the weather, in Iowa, The state's average snowfall so far this year, 36.4 inches. That's the most since 2004, and it's the ninth most on record dating back an entire century. Their average temperature, 18.9 degrees, is almost 3 degrees below normal. So where's global warming? You know? Their forecasters predict that 6 to 10 more inches of snow will be falling out there in the next few weeks. It's crazy. Global warming. I think what everybody needs to do is just open your windows, tonight. Everybody crack a window and leave it cracked for about an hour. Let some of that heat out and warm this city up.
Hey, Rick, all
Yes,
my
dear.
southern kids called and told me that they had a dusting of a couple of inches.
And I
Don't you wish we'd only had a dusting?
I did see an article, I believe Israel got snow for the second time this year. They got a dusting in Israel. Which, I don't know why I care about whether they got snow in Israel or not, but. Oh, what other stupid things have we got going on? We got this. This reminds me of. I read this and I thought about the joke that I do about going to the Special Olympics and the fact that they only had one handicap parking spot. In Mississippi, this man named Richard Alcott was arrested after he had a heated argument with a police officer over the fact that the cop had parked the cruiser in a handicapped spot at a movie rental store. Now, this Richard Alcott says his best friend is a paraplegic who he's wheeled around for 35 years, often long distances into restaurants and stores because lack of handicap parking. He was arrested for creating a public disturbance and resisting arrest. Isn't that something? Because apparently a cop can park in a handicapped spot and he doesn't need a handicap plate. Because I haven't seen too many cop cars with handicap plates. Which is sad. They should have at least one, because apparently there's no handicapped people that are cops. You'd think if the cops had any handicapped people, they would have at least one cruiser with handicap plates. Maybe. I don't know. But then this is not Ironside or anything, Oh. Such a horrible reference. Nobody that watches this show probably even remembers Ironside. All right, South Carolina's doing great things. Apparently, Governor Sanford signed a bill that will allow groups of at least 10 small businesses to join together and negotiate health insurance plans for their employees, which is something when I was working for the cabinet company I wondered about. Because insurance, it was like a 3-person shop, and in order to get a health plan, it was still, even if he matched, it was going to be outrageous. And I always wondered why, little businesses like that couldn't group together all under one insurance policy. And even if they're, make a stipulation that you have to be all the same type of business. All builders or all, I don't know, manufacturing people. But I think it's a great idea. And maybe New Hampshire should look into that. Another thing I just thought of with all this law building stuff. Of course, I see more. They're still talking about this best of KMS thing with these people that are trying to fight the new middle school, and they think we should renovate the old middle school. I don't know whether it's worth it or not, or what should be done with that building. It seems to me that there should be a stipulation, regardless of whether a new building's built or you use the old building. But there should be a stipulation in the the ballot that says that yearly maintenance and upgrading will be done. So that in 50 years you don't end up with another useless friggin' building. And that's the problem. That's the problem with the fire station. It's the problem with the Keene Middle School. They didn't keep up with maintenance and upgrades to the school as they needed them. They wait until the very last minute, and then they go, oh my God, we got to do something about this. We better vote on it. No, every single year. We've got a fantastic vocational education program at the high school. Why aren't some of those kids helping to maintain these buildings as a learning experience? I don't know, get the on-the-job training. If pipes need to be fixed in the high school, get the building trades class to go and fix them. Give them credit for it. I don't know. It just seems that that's the problem. All of a sudden, we're looking at millions and millions of dollars for either a new school or renovation, when all along it should have been kept. I remember walking the halls of the junior high when I was in junior high, the little corridor by the gymnasium, and it's probably changed now, but not only was it a narrow hallway with lockers on one side, but on the other side was all the old fallout shelter food. All them big cans full of the stuff that we were supposed to eat in case the nuclear bomb dropped. And it was sick. And yeah, they were narrow and they were small, but we were little. And little people don't need much room.
You know, Rick, if you really think about it, what you said is an awesome idea, because when a kid gets out of high school and they try to get a job, where do they wind up? Half the time, if they're not ready to go to college, they wind up having to work in a fast food place, which they really don't want to do, because somebody says to them, you don't have the experience. Well, now they can go and say, yeah, we do. We help to maintain these buildings that we went to school in. We therefore have the experience.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it seems like it would be such a simple thing that, man, I just noticed the time. I've been blabbering on, haven't I? Jeez. All right, I'll save this one. I got to save something for after crew call. It's going to be a short what?
Said it's going to be a short one. There's only 3 of us here.
Oh, yeah. Well, but it's the normal 3. We've got Greg on camera 1 and 2 and 3. And floor directing and studio lighting and, I'll give him a dozen titles. Wouldn't make the credits too long, though. And in the booth is Bruce and Andrea as usual.
How you doing out there, Rick?
All right. I'm trying to squeeze you into a better mood than what you were in earlier.
Once we get the show off the ground, I'm just grumpy until I'm sure everything's ready to go.
Yeah, I know.
I took a short nap after work, and I'm grumpy when I wake up. So.
Yeah, well, and I know that you've been working hard. You've been staying up late at night. I know, because when I come home from work, I still see your lights on, so I know you're in there playing games.
No, last couple of nights have actually been good and been down to the bed before 11 o'clock, so. I don't know what nights you were.
Tuesday night.
Well, that was
Tuesday night it was 11:30. You were still up playing games.
No, actually I was up on the computer just surfing around looking at stupid videos of people crashing cars and
that's way
falling
better.
downstairs and I spend hours on the internet just surfing stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's way better.
It's just amazing how many stupid people there are in the world. And
yeah,
like Ron White says, you can't fix stupid.
Oh, no.
You can only buy insurance against it.
That's right. And that's the big thing that's wrong with the internet, is that people can showcase their stupidity. But
15 minutes of fame. Why else do we do this show? It's just we have an opportunity to get our faces on TV, so we take advantage of it. as
All
well.
right.
Anybody should come on down and do it. But why not?
All
It's
right.
fun.
Is that why we do this?
It's part of the reason.
All right. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I just hope you buy that.
And keep watching.
I've got an agenda. Someday, maybe I'll be able to join Colbert and Jon Stewart up there on the wall of greats.
Well, we finally got the racing season kicked off, so Andrea's got some stuff to fill us all in on, so I'll turn it on over to her.
Yeah, and I'm going to get my news from you, Andrea, because, I didn't even watch a bit of the race this weekend. I was in such a horrible mood.
Oh, shame on you. You were being an old pope.
I know, and I had to work, too, so Sunday night. So.
I know. But, well, first things first. What I'll do is I want to say hi to Jamie. She's a young waitress over at Family Ties. Her brother, she was telling me, actually had tickets to the Daytona 500. I hope he had a good time, Jamie. And she does watch this show, so I think she'll see it. Then I have a customer service rep that I have had a lot of contact with over the last few years, and I finally met her nose to nose a couple of days ago, and she is also a NASCAR fan. So hi, Laura, how are you? Now I'll give you the standings first, and then I'll give you all the little tidbits of garbage that happened. The standings are pretty close to how they finished up. We had a little glitch in it, but other than that, they're pretty close. Ryan Newman won, and it was the first time that Penske had ever been to the Daytona 500 victory lane. So he was pretty excited, and from what I understand, he sat right there through all of the tech inspection afterwards and everything. I think he wanted to make sure all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. So anyways, Ryan Newman did very well. He had help from his teammate, Kurt Busch, to push him up there.
Now, is Ryan Newman driving a Dodge?
Yes, he's
He
driving a Dodge. There were a lot of Dodges in the top 10 this year.
I heard that there was a lot of Dodges and Toyotas were really running strong.
Oh, yeah, Toyotas and Dodges were very, very strong. Probably the strongest car out there all day was Kyle Busch, and I hate to say it, he's such a whining little weasel. But Tony Stewart driving a Toyota, he almost got it, but, it's one of those things. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, almost, If the dog hadn't stopped to poop, he'd have caught the fox. So, one of those deals. But Dale Jr., his standings right now are in 8th place, and that's because of Robbie Gordon dropping like a rock because of a penalty. Denny Hamlin, your guy, his standing is in 15th, and Martin Truex Jr., he's in 19th right now. So that's all the highlights I'm going to give you on that. Then I'll give you some penalties between, what was it? I got to get this right. The Sprint Cup Series and the Nationwide Series, there were like 8 penalties.
Oh, and you got to love them.
It was unreal. I think the NASCAR Foundation is going to have a lot of money to start with. They ranged, Robbie Gordon had 100 points assessed to him for both owner and driver, because he is the owner and driver, and his crew chief was fined $100,000. And it all had to do with an unapproved nose. Now, they started out, he submitted a Dodge Charger nose, but it hadn't been approved. And like 5 days later, he switched over and put a Dodge Avenger nose on the car. Not good. It just didn't work out right. So he ended up getting assessed. He's going to appeal it, but, they've got to stand fast on this, whether you like it or not. Then in the Nationwide Series, Junior was docked 50 points, and that was for, the deck lid. I never can figure out what those are, because he went out and he was doing fine in practice. After practice, I guess, because everything had been through tech inspection, he was doing fine. And then when he got back, they did a little bit of probably push and tug and little cranking. And then it didn't fit the templates right. So he got 50 points docked along with his with Rick Hendrick. His let's see, then I won't even go through all the other cars. But overall, it ranged from $5,000 fines up to Robbie Gordon's crew chief with a $100,000 fine.
Wow.
They started with the suspensions ranged for like 6 week suspensions. Most of the crew chiefs are, and this is for the crew chiefs. Most of the crew chiefs are on probation through the end of the year. The crew chiefs that got suspended were Robbie Gordon's crew chief, Dale Jr.'s crew chief, the number 0, the number 1, 14, 64, 77, and 99, all for their infractions. And last but not least, even though most of us are not Mark Martin fans, he starts his 700 race this week at Fontana. So that's it in a nutshell. So we're heading on to California, so we should have a good race.
So what is that, like 50 races since he's retired?
Yeah, about that.
Or something?
50, 75, something like that since he's been retired and unretired.
He'll probably be on the track retired as long as Bill Elliott is.
Oh, for crying out loud, he'll be talking, he'll have no teeth and be talking, showing his gums and using a cane. That's about, about where that man's at. But anyways, I think we're done now.
Thanks, Andrea. Unfortunately, Tarzan's on leave. Not sure for how long, but I kind of understand. Following that number every week is a tough job. But I'm still going to talk to him, so he'll be giving me tidbits of information to talk about, I'm sure. But we hope to get him back on the air as soon as possible. But right now he wanted some time off, and when he told me that, I said, all right, I'll make your excuses for you. I figured we could kill him off in a bunker explosion, or we could, send him. But for right now, he's on leave. For all we know, he could be on some black op somewhere, taking care of business, finding out some of the real military BS. But here's a great joke I was reading at the beginning of the show about the commanding officer's morning briefing. Apparently, a regiment in the United States Marine Corps was about to start their morning briefing. And while waiting at the coffee machine to finish brewing, he decided to pose a question to all the guys that were around the coffee machine. And he explained that his wife had been a little frisky last night. He didn't get as much sleep as he normally gets. And he posed the question, how much of sex was work and how much of it was pleasure? Well, the executive officer, second in charge, he piped up with 75-25 in favor of work. A captain said it was 50-50. A colonel's aide, a lieutenant, he said it was 25-75 in favor of pleasure, depending on his state of inebriation at the time. And there being no clear consensus, the colonel turned to a private who was in charge of making the coffee and asked him what his opinion was. The private snapped right to, without hesitation, said, "Sir, it has to be 100% pleasure." The colonel was surprised, and he said, "Well, why?" Private started, "Well, sir, if there was any work involved in it, you guys would be having us do it." The room fell silent. All right. What's another thing? Politics? No, not time for politics yet. Not time for that one. It's time to do the illegal immigration thing again. Because it's still happening, and it still burns the hell out of me. And gas prices are through the roof. 7-Eleven just went up 309, I think. And they want us to cut the amount of gasoline we use. Here's an email that I got that solves all the problems together. The gas use, the immigration thing, the war thing. And the best way to start is to stop using so much gas. The best way to stop using so much gas is to stop using gas to deport 11 million illegal aliens. That would be 11 million less people using our gas. The price of gas would come down. Bring our troops home from Iraq to guard the border, and when they catch an illegal immigrant crossing, give him a rifle, a canteen, and some ammunition and send him to Iraq. Yeah, you follow me so far? All right. Tell him if he wants to come to America, he's got to serve a tour in the military. And while he's there, pay him what you'd pay a soldier and tax him. That's right, like you do a soldier. After his tour, then he'll be allowed to become a citizen since he defended the country. He'll also be registered to be taxed and be a legal patriot. And see, that option will probably deter illegal immigration and provide a solution for troops in Iraq and the aliens trying to make a better life for themselves. And if you catch them and they refuse to serve, ship them to Iraq anyway, only without a rifle, a canteen, and ammunition. Problem solved. Yeah, because we got enough problems of our own. We got these damn potholes. My God, it's pothole season, and it doesn't matter what road you're on, there's potholes. And I'm very upset because I checked them all and there's no pot in any of them. I think it would make it better if there was pot in them, but no pot. Some of them got car parts in them, but no pot. This I thought was really great out of Wisconsin. The governor's task force on global warming approved recommendations to cut energy use and erect wind turbines on Lake Michigan and Lake Superior. So they got to start generating wind power. Governor Doyle asked for recommendations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 80% by 2050. That's, I mean, granted it's 45 years, but that sounds kind of like 80% is a lot. That kind of sounds like an Apollo project to me, like everybody's been talking about. That's what we need. We need people to say, look, by 2010, things have to start happening. The electric car needs to come back. All right. Politics. Politics, or what we're calling politics these days. Because I haven't seen any issues. Where's the issues in politics these days? I've seen, oh my God, John McCain had sex with a lobbyist 8 years ago. Who cares? Who cares? And what I've been hearing all this week is apparently during a speech that Barack Obama's wife gave, she made a remark that for the first time in her adult life, she's proud of America. Which, I mean, everybody's jumping on, and saying, oh my God, how can she say that? And Hillary, all they seem to be talking about these days with Hillary is her friggin' outfits. This isn't a popularity contest. It's not about, the other thing, people fainting at Barack Obama speeches, I guess is the biggest thing, like he was Elvis or the Beatles or something, People actually swooning, oh my God. And they're not talking about the issues. The newest thing I read tonight, which came from was it Saturday's Sentinel. Mike Huckabee has been asked by Tom Schultz, the head songwriter of Boston, to stop using their song More Than a Feeling without permission. Yeah, copyright infringement by a political candidate. I mean, and these are the things that we're going to judge our president on, whether his little band plays More Than a Feeling, or whether John McCain had sex 8 years ago. I mean, who cares? As long as he got something out of the deal. You know? I mean, if she ended up getting the upper hand, then that was wrong. But if he used it to advance his career, it's different. I don't know. It's just the way it is, I guess. You know? I mean, after being in a prisoner of war camp, it was the least that a lobbyist could have done for him. You know? I mean, apparently he's a hero. So, let's talk about some scumbags for a minute. I thought you were. Oh. Shh. Don't tell them that we think that way of them. All right. No, this is some real scumbags. Westminster, Colorado. A couple of con artists used a counterfeit $100 bill and bought Girl Scout cookies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The unknown couple handed over the bill Friday night at a supermarket, telling the girls it had been washed, and that was why it looked so funny. Imagine that. And it is, I mean, this is a relevant story because it is Girl Scout cookie time. I know Mom got hers the other day. So, yep. We're having fun till the Thin Mints are gone. Then it'll be all depression and sadness until next year. I don't know why the Girl Scouts can't just sell them all year. Anytime you want cookies, just go see a Girl Scout and get some damn Thin Mints. But yeah, it was $93.50 they lost, the Girl Scouts lost. Because I guess the couple bought 2 boxes of cookies and then got their change. The story does have a happy ending, though. A resident donated $100 to the Girl Scouts of the town when they heard about the story. So that was nice. This is also nice. A story about how one pastor is going to fight divorce rates, high divorce rates. Listen to this idea from a pastor. Pay attention, Pastor Ray. Southwest Florida Church has issued a challenge for its married members. Hanky-panky every day. With each other, of course. The relevant church head pastor Paul Worth issued the 30-day sex challenge to take on high divorce rates. And that's no different for people who attend church. Sometimes life just gets in the way. Our jobs get in the way. The challenge doesn't extend to unwed congregants, though. So, the pastor, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. But every day for 30 days, if you're married, try it out, see if it brings you closer. Of the most stupid people? Bremerton, Washington. Apparently this woman dropped an envelope into the credit union deposit and she forgot to take her baggie of crystal methamphetamine out of it. You can't deposit drugs. They just don't take them. They do, however, get in touch with the police, which they did, and they in turn contacted the 18-year-old customer, and you know, they just think that she might have just spaced it. She's probably on drugs. That's what she gets. And then an hour later, she was probably looking for the stuff, you know. Oh my God, where is it? Where is it? Funny. All right. What else have I got to talk about? I had something else here. Go back to last week. I talked about how kids got it so easy these days. And I talked about the TV thing. You know, where if we missed cartoons on Saturday, we missed them for the whole week. What I failed to mention is that we didn't have remote controls back then. No push the button and the channel change. You had to either get up and change the channel, which is a lot of the reason that our parents had kids, for us to change the channel for them. We were the remote controls, and Dad would say, change the channel. So, but yeah, or you sit close enough. I mean, back in those days, big TVs were expensive, so most everybody had little 13-inch black, or at least the kids had 13-inch black and white TVs, and that's what we watched in our rooms. The little antennas, you had to tune just right, put the aluminum foil on them and connect it to your head and your bedpost, and then out your window and up to the chimney, and yeah, and then you maybe get a channel.
Hey, Rick, but they got it so bad now with those damn TVs. The buttons are so small, I can't find them. I have to use a flashlight.
Well, kids' fingers are getting smaller these days from not doing real work, but just like playing video games and computer stuff, because you need small, tiny fingers for that. So we're evolving as a species. Fingers are getting smaller, you know, the whole 9 yard. Ears are getting smaller because of cell phones. The other thing with the phone system, we had to like dial. You could get blisters on your finger from dialing if you had to dial a lot of people. No redial, no speed dial. Speed dial was just dialing real fast. But you still had to wait for that dial to come back around. And all the phones had cords on them. And not just cords to a base on a table, cords on the wall. And you could only go so far. Unless you got the 50-footer. So if you were talking to a friend and your parents came in, you couldn't get away. No, and like I said, no caller IDs. You just had to guess who was calling. And then there was, I remember my uncle in Spofford had Party Line, where there were different rings. And if it rang 2 quick rings, it wasn't for you. But if it rang 2 long rings, it was for you. You know, or a long and a short. And I mean, there was, yeah, you're liable to go try to make a phone call and there was somebody already talking. You're like, oh, okay, sorry, I'll wait. No choice. It was either that or you just went to the people's house that you were trying to call and knocked on the door. That's all it was. What else was different? No video games. Pong. The one white blip, the one little white square blip, and the 2 little rectangular square paddles. They moved up and down. And that was video games. 6 different games, all in one unit. There was tennis. There was, I think, badminton. There was, like, anything that had paddles going across the thing. It was ice hockey, I think, had 2 paddles on the same side. Yeah, it was everything, all rolled into one for $149 at Sears. I saw a commercial for Garanimals the other day. They still make Garanimals for dressing kids, where you match the 2 different animals and they tell you if the clothes go together or not. And I've figured out that apparently computers are hurting our child's educations because we've got college girls working at Athens. And I swear, Bruce, you order every now and then. Your brother delivered to you one night, and he showed me the slip. Whoever answered the phone, I don't know which one of them it was, but they had name Bruce, B-R-U-S-E.
I was a bruise that night.
And apparently, once you get spell check on a computer, you lose it out of your brain. So you just sound stuff out.
Half these kids nowadays can't do addition, subtraction, can't make change in their head. If the power goes out and the keyboard don't tell them how much change to make, they can't make a sale.
You're right, and I'm waiting for one of them to tell me that number 1T1, which is 11. How come it's not pronounced 1D1? I don't know. That's kind of a stupid one, isn't it? Horrible segue. If people from Poland are called Poles, how come people from Holland aren't called holes? If a pig loses its voice, is it disgruntled? This one I thought was kind of cool. If lawyers are disbarred and clergymen are defrocked, then doesn't it follow that electricians can be delighted, musicians denoted, cowboys deranged, models deposed, tree surgeons debarked, and dry cleaners depressed? Oh, I've seen that one before. And how about mothers that feed their kids with like little tiny baby spoons and forks? Do you think in China mothers use toothpicks? And is it true you never really learn to swear till you learn to drive? Those are horrible. This is kind of cool because I'm sure everybody's got those, or at least has seen those little pest things you plug into your wall, and supposedly they emit this high frequency sound that drives bugs away. Apparently in Britain, some stores use a similar device to keep kids away, children. And there's a campaign to ban the high frequency devices out of the stores. And it says the so-called mosquito device emits high frequency noise which is audible and annoying to young ears, but generally not heard by people over 20. Because you lose your hearing that quick. Your high range hearing goes more than before anything. It says the device is a quick fix. It doesn't tackle the root of the problem. And the campaigners claim that about 3,500 of the devices are in use. It's kind of weird. So another one is Sweden. A Swedish preschool has been criticized for banning its children from wearing striped and spotted clothing, since the pattern give one of its teachers migraine headaches. That's taking care of your teachers there, isn't it? A teacher says, man, I can't look at polka dots because I get headaches. They go, okay, kids, no more polka dots. They're better than losing a teacher. That's education in style, huh? And it's in a preschool, 710 miles north of Stockholm. And they get complaints from a parent. I don't know. kind of stupid. What was this other one I saw about? A woman who was 7 months pregnant is accused of smashing a beer bottle against a bartender's head after she was refused a drink. 7 months pregnant and drinking. Yeah. She's 30. She assaulted a female bartender after being told she shouldn't be drinking alcohol. She said she smashed a glass over the bartender's ear and head. Bartender's ear was partially detached. And a surgeon in Pittsburgh used 2 staples and 28 stitches to reattach the top of the ear. Yeah. Isn't that nuts? All because the pregnant woman wanted a drink. God, it's horrible. All right. I know you probably don't want to hear any more of this stuff, but useless information. You can use it. It makes great conversation starters. For instance, jeans were named after Genoa, Italy, where the first denim cloth was actually made. North Americans spend almost $18 billion on footwear every year. Yep. Some of that goes to Ted. And meanwhile, Greg's stocking-footed. Maybe they include that as footwear, Greg. If you lace your shoes from the inside to the outside, the fit will be snugger around your big toe. I don't understand that. All right. In 1955, 1/3 of all the watches sold were Timexes. All right. Swatch. Oh, I don't know about swatches. Jeez. I think I just saw that one. How about this one? A B-25 bomber crashed into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building on July 28th, 1945. Yep. So the Twin Towers weren't the first time that a building in New York had been hit by a big plane. The Titanic was running 22 knots when she hit the iceberg. I don't know how many miles an hour that is, but is it just over 22 miles an hour? Because I was going like 30 the other day and was hit by an iceberg on like Optical Ave during one of them storms. When the Titanic sunk, there were 7,500 pounds of ham on it. Yeah, that's why the price of ham went up. The $8 bill was designed and printed by Benjamin Franklin for the American colonies. There aren't many left, I don't think. The $8 bill. Yep. So apparently, back in those days, you know, it was queer as an $8 bill. Or maybe queer as a $3 bill came because there wasn't a $3 bill, but there was an $8 bill. Which is a 5 and a 3. Or a lot of stuff just cost $8. Here we got an $8 bill. Everything's $8.
Average cost of the horse back then.
That's still one of my favorite things to do is go in the dollar store and ask how much stuff is. Robert E. Lee wore a size 4.5 shoe. Yeah. Yep. Banks, the first use of Scotch tape. Banks used to use Scotch tape to mend torn currency during the Depression. In 1801, 20% of the people in the United States were slaves. In 1829, this is just to show that obesity is not just a problem now. In 1829, 2 sisters in the United States, Susan and Deborah, weighed 205 and 124 pounds, although they were only 5 and 3 years old, respectively. The 5-year-old weighed 205 pounds, the 3-year-old weighed 124. So obesity is not a new thing. Yeah. In 1900, you know what the third leading cause of death was? Diarrhea. Imagine that. Yeah, apparently it's you just kind of wasted away. Huh. Apparently that was before like Pepto-Bismol and stuff. Damn. In 1917, Margaret Sanger was jailed for 1 month for establishing the first birth control clinic. In 1937, yeast sales reached 20 million a year in the United States. That was when yeast infections were all the rage. I'm sorry. All right. Before the 1800s, there was no separately designed shoes for left and right. You could switch them back and forth, and it didn't matter. And that, I bet you could buy them separate too. Well, my biggest thing is the fact that amputees have to buy a whole pair of shoes. It really upsets me that there's not a guy with one leg can't just go in and buy one shoe. I don't know. Kind of discriminatory. Let's see. Pirates thought having an earring would improve their eyesight. I don't know why. Korean War, my God. Spain declared war on the United States in 1898. The Spanish Inquisition once condemned the entire Netherlands to death for heresy. Oliver Cromwell was hanged and decapitated 2 years after his death. The Wright brothers' first plane was called the Bird of Prey. First man ever to set foot on Antarctica was John Davis on February 7th, 1821. Here you go. The first police force was established in Paris in 1667. All right. Coming up, just a couple minutes, Randy and Chris, Keen No Spin. Tonight's guest, John McLean, city manager. And they're going to be talking about potholes. Of course. What else would they be talking about? Well, and maybe a few other things, I'm sure. But they'll definitely be talking about potholes. They'll probably be talking about fire station, downtown, roundabouts, all things Keene. I want to thank my crew. Greg, thanks. Bruce and Andrew, as usual. My sponsors, Mom's Tattoo and Gemini Screen Print. And again, I still haven't made it down to see any of those guys. Just so wrapped up and tired of dealing with the weather. I told Mom I want to move. If I spend one more winter here, I'm going nuts. Anyway, No Spins next. Immediately following, as you noticed last week. Thank everybody for watching. Till next week, maybe I'll have a better show. Peace.